Well, hello there, and welcome to this chat with Helen dos Santos. Now, Helen is an independent trainer using Everything Disc, and I'm really looking forward to hearing her views on how it's been for her and how she's using it in her business. But before we get started, my name is Julie French. I'm one of the directors of the Academy of High Achievers. We're a training and coaching company, and we've been partners with Wiley and using Everything Disc and the five behaviors since 2008, certainly Everything Disc. So, Helen, welcome. Would you like to say a little bit about yourself, Helen?
Thank you, Julie. And it's a pleasure to be here. So, yeah, my company is Horizons Coaching, and there's a couple of things that I do. There's the one-to-one coaching, as well as some workshops that I run, and I tend to specialize in mental health and well-being. And I felt that DUSC sat with that really well, in so much as some of the conversations that we have can cause us a lot of stress sometimes. So I found it a wonderful tool to have in my armory and my toolbox. Yeah.
Fabulous. I mean, you're so right. Conflict in the workplace and some of the relationships that aren't working well. I mean, they can cause so much angst.
Yeah.
Not to mention the impact on performance and results. So, Helen, tell us about your journey with Everything Disc.
Well, yeah, I can remember joining a webinar a couple of years ago, and I had the opportunity to do my DISC profile, and it was really fascinating. It was like my mother had written this profile. I thought this person really knows me. And what was really great though was the additional information that you get that goes with it. But then I started, now I can be one of those people that gets distracted by something new and exciting, but I have to think about whether it sits with the sort of business that I run and the focus of my work. And, going back to the conflict, the stress that it causes, yes, for me, it sat very comfortably with that. And I think when I had a conversation with you and I got to understand more about DISC, it was an absolute yes, I have got to do this. So it was a bit of a no-brainer, and it has sat very, very comfortably with what I offer.
Yeah. And so is there anything else that you can say about what really, clinched it for you in terms of that decision-making process? Because I know, there's a lot of different psychometric tools out there. And it can be sometimes a bit of a minefield for people
Mm.
to find the one that's going to work for them. So what was it that, really sort of clinched it for you?
I think for me, because you do read about personality profiles, and I think one of the things that we touched on in that initial conversation was this isn't about personality, it's about behavior. And when you start talking about personality, I think one of the things you identified was it's very much at identity level. And oh, if you're going to suggest I change my personality, that's a bit of a no-go area. So because it was about behavior, and we know that we all try and tweak and adapt in certain situations and with certain people, but what DISC does is just make it that you're doing it more purposefully. And that for me was the big deal clencher, that it was about behavior, and we know we already adapt our styles and our behaviors in certain situations. So this was just doing it in a more meaningful manner when people went through the training.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's about helping people to flex their behavior, to become more
Mm.
flexible in all kinds of different contexts, to build better connections, better relationships with people. So, so you did the training, and you did the training with us back in January 2023, and it was the online training, the 3 half days. So, tell us what you got from that training, Helen.
Oh, do you really want me to tell you how many pages of notes I wrote? The training was absolutely fabulous, and I loved the detail that it went into. I felt there was a lovely blend of not only learning how to deliver it as a trainer, but also understanding more about your own disc style and what that meant. Because, you know, going into the breakout rooms and having exercises to do, I felt that was absolutely invaluable.
Fabulous. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. It was lovely to have you with us. And so tell us about, what happened after the training for you.
Well, I think I was warming up some of my clients even before I did the training. I was getting so excited, and it was more around have you heard about or have you ever come across DISC before? And yeah, and there was quite a lot of curiosity because in some cases it was known, you know, heard about personality profiling. And of course, I was straight in there, sort of explaining that it wasn't about personalities. So it was really easy to build people's curiosity. But then once I'd done the training, I felt in a much stronger position to sell its advantages. And given that, you know, I work with a lot of people who are experiencing stress and working in stressful environments, to be able to bring this to them and talk about just taking the heat out of the way we communicate and the way we have those discussions, wouldn't that make a massive difference? And it was a case of tell me more.
And so it's 12 months now
Yeah.
since you did your training with us. What kind of a year have you had in terms of DISC?
Absolutely brilliant. I've worked a lot in schools, and that's been mainly with the senior leaders, the head and the senior leadership team. I have ended up working with a manufacturing company that had pulled a team together. The individuals of this team had worked in various teams. There were technicians, and then they brought them together all in one team. And interestingly, they weren't gelling. It was quite cliquey. There was conflict. There were a bit of gossip and backbiting going on. And when I met with the HR director, it was very much a view of, do I just get them all in one room and just let them share how they feel? And I did describe that as perhaps sometimes when we squeeze the toothpaste tube too hard and you end up with too much toothpaste on your toothbrush, you can't get it back in the tube. And it's once you've said what you feel you want to say, you can't take it back. But with DISC, I felt that that was going to be a fabulous opportunity to actually build this team together. And when we started to look at the A to B journey and what they wanted, each individual, what did they want? There were some real honest statements coming out. And what was really interesting, they kept that flip chart sheet because this was now there. It was almost like this is what we're going to work on as a team. So really fabulous work.
Yeah, and I mean, I know you've been really active through 2023 with with a lot of different workshops.
Yeah.
And so what's 2024 looking like for you?
I have 3 DISC training sessions booked, varying from a senior leadership team across a multi-academy trust. So it's with the chief exec and her leadership team. Then I'm doing it with a all the head teachers of the same trusts and their senior team. So there's going to be nearly 30 of them. And then in February, I'm booked to do it with an organization of close protection officers. So completely different. And I don't think this is designed for any particular sector. The beauty about this is you can apply this anywhere where there are people having conversations. Simple as.
Oh, I love that. I love that, Helen. Yeah, you can apply it wherever there is a relationship, wherever people are, as you say, having conversations. And there's so much flexibility as well with the tool, isn't there? So should we just finish with a little bit about how you have blended it in to your existing programs?
Yes, so I've got sort of several well-being workshops, and there's been the opportunity where if an organization wants more than just DISC, because yes, DISC is about behavior, but it also involves talking as well. So can we tweak some of what we're saying? And certainly working with leaders as an opportunity to look at how that blends with their leadership style. And that's where perhaps some of the coaching that I do comes in. So what I've pulled together is they can have one of 3 different things, DISC just being one of them, but they can have the additional 2 sessions, which would enhance their learning all the more, and just grow and develop their leadership style.
Yeah, I love it. You can deliver DISC sessions as a standalone session, and you can blend it in with what you're already doing. As you say, wherever people are having conversations, wherever there might be the need for more cohesiveness, we've got this fabulous tool. Well, Helen, it's been an absolute pleasure having this conversation with you. Thank you so much for your input, and speak to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me along.